Hello everyone, From School to School episode number 4 is expecting a Master in Education first grade DLI teacher, extremely organized, a perseverant person and passionate about what she does. I'll let her introduce herself to you. Welcome. This is Manu Coelho and I'm very happy to have you here.
Hello, Manu. It's a pleasure to be here speaking with you and participating in your project and podcast. I felt very honored with your invitation, and I hope that I can leave a good contribution for your project. For those who don't know me, my name is Jessica Belaver. I am Brazilian and I am currently living in Utah, in US. I moved here around 6 years ago to work in a dual language immersion program. And I completely fell in love with the program. And so this is what I've been doing the past 6 years. I've been working as a first grade Portuguese teacher in this school in Bluffdale. And I say Portuguese teacher, but I'm also in charge of teaching math, social studies, and science, but everything in Portuguese. I cannot speak English with the kids ever. That's why we call it immersion. So, anyways, I was working as a teacher before coming here to the US. Actually, I have a confession to make. This is the only profession, this is the only type of job that I ever had. I started when I was 17 years old, and I've taught many different levels and subjects since then. And I also had an experience working as a pedagogical coordinator, but I've always been in contact with the classroom for almost 20 years now. Wow, oh my gosh, that's scary. I have a master's degree in teaching, which I did in Brazil just before coming here. And I also have 2 endorsements that I completed in Brazil. And of course, when we arrive here, we want to make the most of our time and we want to learn as much as possible. So I've completed 3 more endorsements here, one in technology, one in dual language immersion, and one in STEM education.
With such a strong background, I am confident you will have great experiences and information to share with us all today. Let's go for our first question. Are you ready? What is a teacher?
Oh well, a teacher is someone who guides other people, who inspires and encourages them. A teacher is a leader, and I think a teacher should make their students feel comfortable to try new things and make mistakes. And I also think that a teacher is someone who connects with their students and build just the right type of relationship, like a healthy relationship with based on trust, and where students feel safe enough to participate, to raise their hands in class. They are not afraid, they just feel encouraged and they feel that they belong. So they want to try, they want to be part of that group of students, of that environment. And I think most importantly, they will want to apply in their lives the concepts, the skills, everything that they are learning with that teacher, with that classroom, in that classroom.
I agree with you when you say that a teacher is a guider, a leader, and someone who um, helps kids to interact and feel comfortable when making mistakes and when approaching questions in the classroom and learn from it and apply it in real life. How did you become a teacher? Did you have anyone who was your inspiration? What's your story?
I used to play school when I was a child, a student, every single day after school, after lunch. When I was a child, I would go to school in the mornings and then I would come home, have my lunch. And then right after lunch, I would grab a small chalkboard, my books, my notebooks, from school and repeat everything that I've learned that day in class. But now with me being the teacher, of course. I remember I was very specific. I would copy like the tone of voice that my teacher had, her style of saying things, her gestures, and I was very specific too. Like I would even try to copy my teacher's outfit, what she was wearing that day, and I would grab my mom's shirts or bracelets or whatever it was that would make me look as similar as possible as my teacher. So I don't think I knew exactly what were all the implications and responsibilities of a teacher when I started college. But I guess that was the job that I could see myself doing. And I knew that, I kind of knew that with the pedagogy course, that's the one that I took, I could work in different scenarios, in different areas too, if I were to change my mind later. But I never did.
We shared the same experience. I was a pre-kid teacher after school hours as well, in a different format. I wouldn't wear my mom's clothes, but I would have my friends come and sit and be taught by me using chalks on the wall. My mom colored a black wall in the back of our home, and that was our classroom in the afternoon. That is quite fun to know. This is inspirational for other kids as well, right? Jessica, tell me, what's the theory behind your philosophy of education?
I think education is the only thing that can really transform a human being. I think it was Dave Bergs who said this, that education is a product that transforms one student at a time. It's cliche, it sounds cliche, but it's really true. And sometimes the teacher will not be able to see it in person, like to experience this transformation, the impact of his or her daily work and persistence with a student, but society will. Society will experience this, their families will, their friends will. And I think right here, right, this thing, it's one of the most amazing and unique things about our profession. You just keep doing, you just keep trying your best every single day with every single student. Even when you have one of those very hard days, you go home, you come back the next day, and you keep trying, keep trying. We never give up on students. And sometimes we do this not really knowing the full impact of our work, but you do it so intentionally and so well planned, with consistency, with persistency, that deep down, we know that we are making a difference, that we made a difference in our students' lives.
To be completely honest, that is why I go back to the classroom every day during school year, and I understand that kids are being changed and transformed by what we do, and because we do not give up on them and we try everything with every single human being that we see every day, that's the future of education. This is how I see perspective to more educators in the future with this project, and I'm so glad to hear that I'm not alone on this. Well, my question for you now is, how is culture being addressed in your classroom setting?
My goal is to make my students feel that they belong, that they can be themselves and improve from there, instead of trying to fit in, having to change to fit in. I guess it's easier for me, for us, foreigner teachers, to teach some skills and concepts like tolerance, acceptance, diversity, because we bring so much of these things to the classroom, to the conversations, to our lessons, without even having to think so much about it. Culture is us, culture is within us. There is just no way that we can leave it outside the classroom or ignore it. However, I think we teachers, we need to be more intentional about culture when it comes to culture. I definitely need and can do better. We can do better about it. Like simple actions, like being more inclusive with the pictures that you choose for your PowerPoint presentations, for example. It's a great way to start, I think. Language teachers or even like English teachers teaching vocabulary to to small children. Instead of using random pictures from Google, use real and diverse pictures and examples. So students will feel seen, will be able to connect with the pictures, with the vocabulary that you are teaching. And also some examples, include some examples, some pictures of things that will open their eyes and minds to other realities. So that's how we can include, that's how I think we can incorporate and address more culture in our classrooms.
I can see exactly what you're saying, especially when you teach younger kids where visual input is necessary for vocabulary growth, sentence frames, and prompts. Um, when culture is being addressed and intentional, when showing the images, making them rethink their status in life or their position in life or their perspective and the environment where they live at, and even for teaching rules, teaching moral, teaching um, daily routine in the classroom, I see that I can do better as a fourth grade teacher as well and provide a variety of images that actually teach them and engage them more. And our last question is, what is the goal of education?
The goal of education must be teach people how to be an acceptable outsider of another culture. I heard this from Mimi Matt and Tara Fortune at a conference that I attended, and it made so much sense to me that I almost stood up and clapped when I heard them saying it. And after I wrote this sentence on my reminders in my phone, and since then I'm trying to live by it. Try my best to, live and work and always keep this sentence in my mind. I also have to say that as a language teacher, I need to point out the value of learning a second language and how powerful it is, especially when you learn as a child. I teach first grade, they are 6 years old. They don't know any Portuguese when they come to me, when they come to my class. And every beginning of this school year, I'm there thinking they must be understanding what, like 50% of what I'm saying, 40% of what I'm saying, or even less. But they are still there looking at me, listening to me, copying my gestures, showing respect, following what they understand, what they can. And I think this skill right there of not understanding 100% of what's going on, or of not being in control and not being uh, aware of 100% of everything that is happening with other people or what they are saying to you. And even so, keep trying, keep showing respect, keep trying to listen, to follow. This is one of the most important skills that will later and automatically also be applied to their social lives. Like, you are not able to, if you don't understand, if you don't need to understand, don't need to agree with everything about what's going on with other people's lives, but you need to show respect. You need to follow, or at least use what makes sense to you, and then maybe do some research later if you don't understand some parts of what is happening. But the most important part, you have to be, they will be, these kids, tolerant and show respect to other ways of living, speaking, and so on. So especially being a language teacher, I think the goal of education is this, is like it's right here, like teaching kids to be more tolerant, more acceptable. Go do your research later, show respect, show acceptance. Everyone is dealing with a bunch of things that you don't know about, but they deserve respect. Everyone deserves respect and has a space, a value in this world. So, right there for me, it's the biggest and main goal of education.
You are absolutely right. When we have set a goal of acceptance, tolerance, and respect, and we guide our children towards this goal, and they can figure out life on their own after, but at least this basic concept of respect is what education is all about. I thank you so much for being part of this program, for comprehending that From School to School is here to open minds, to be respectful, and to engage kids in learning and future teaching as well. Thank you so much for your participation. This was our brief but very powerful conversation at From School to School. And remember, you are an educator, and I believe in you. See you next time. Oh, one more thing. It's the legal language. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.